Hi, my name is Jane Fox. I'm a staff attorney with the Legal Aid Society in New York City. And I'm here to talk to you today about how to manage public service loan forgiveness year to year, how to make sure you're in compliance with the program. I've been training within my attorney union on PSLF for a number of years and assisting other people in public service about how to work the program. If you're starting out in this process, what I would recommend how you get started is to first visit studentaid.gov to familiarize yourself with the definition of qualifying employer, which in general is any government that's a state, county, local, tribal, or federal government employer, or a 501c3 nonprofit organization. There's some other categories that count, but those are the broadest categories. And to understand two things unique to you, which is what types of loans do you have and what repayment plan are you in, or what repayment plan are you going to select? Both of those things you can do by visiting studentaid.gov. When you visit studentaid.gov, if you haven't already created a profile, you can do so. And your profile will be tied to your FAFSA number, which is the number that your federal student aid number, which you use to take out your loans. So once you've created a profile on studentaid.gov, you'll have a dashboard there. Well, you'll be able to log in and you'll be able to view all of your loans. You'll be able to view what types of loans they are. And you'll be able to view what repayment plan you are currently in. You'll also be able to change your repayment plan or select a different repayment plan if you need to. In order to be in compliance with the rules for PSLF, one of the requirements is that you have to be in income-driven repayment. And part of income-driven repayment is that you have to verify your income with the Department of Education on an annual basis, or anytime you experience a significant change in income. So when you have federal student loans, which is a requirement of working towards PSLF, you can think of it like this. The Department of Education and the federal government are your bank. They are your lender. They own your student loans. They contract with a loan servicing company. Now, these are private companies that have a contract with the Department of Education to service loans, and there are many of them. Right now, the servicer assigned to the PSLF portfolio is a company named Mohela. If your loans are already being serviced by Mohela, great. If you have never identified yourself as somebody interested in pursuing PSLF by sending in a PSLF form to certify your employment, what that will do is that will trigger a transfer of your loans to Mohela, and they will take over servicing your loans going forward. You have to remember, the Department of Education doesn't know that you are pursuing PSLF because they do not know where you work until you tell them. So the way that you tell them that you're interested in working towards PSLF is you send in an annual PSLF form. It used to be called the Employment Certification Form, but they just call it the PSLF form. Now they only use one form. So the form that you're going to use annually to certify your employment is exactly the same form that you would use at the end of the process to apply for cancellation under PSLF. It's one form. It's the PSLF form. And all it is a form that you sign and your employer signs documenting that you work in qualifying public service and the dates of your employment. That's it. So frequently people have the question of, how do I know how many payments I've qualified for PSLF? And it's so much better than it used to be. In the old days, it was almost impossible to track your qualifying payments. But these days, both studentaid.gov and your profile on studentaid.gov and your profile on your loan servicer's website will have some functionality to track your qualifying payments for PSLF. Now, I want to remind people, when you log in to either studentaid.gov or your loan servicer's website and navigate to the section on PSLF in your profile that tracks qualifying payments for PSLF, I want to remind people that the number that's going to appear on the website is rooted in time. So that number of qualifying payments is tied to whenever it was that you last submitted an updated PSLF form qualifying your employment. People ask, what do I do if I log in to studentaid.gov, my loan servicer's website, and I see my PSLF qualifying payment count, and I think there's an error? So there's a couple of ways to come at it, and it's not perfect. The first thing I always recommend that people do is to just pull up the forms that you've previously submitted and kind of sit with them and do the boring calculation of adding up the months and just double checking the paperwork. If you think that you've sent in everything accurately, every employer that you've had while you've been in repayment is documented, and your payment count is still inaccurate, again, giving consideration for the potential time lag of when you last updated your forms, you can call the Department of Education's ombudsman. They have a very small department that is capable of assisting borrowers in dealing with errors in PSLF counts. Now, they don't have a ton of capacity. It's a small department within the Department of Ed. And I would caution people that if you're going to go down that road, that you should just have some patience and be prepared for sometimes very long wait times. But once you do get through, most people have a generally positive experience working with the ombudsman's office, and they're able to sort of get to the bottom of why it is that their payment count is, why there's an error with their payment count.